Now we will move to the keynote speech by Minister of Defense, Mr. Minoru Kihara. He is away on official business, so he will deliver a video message. Good morning, everyone, and perhaps a good evening to some of you. My name is Minoru Kihara. I have been newly appointed to be the Minister of Defense. I would like to express my gratitude for being given the opportunity to provide a speech at this indeed august and tradition and a symposium with long tradition co-hosted by NIKKEI and CSIS. As a Minister of Defense, early this month, I have visited Washington, D.C. for the first time. As a minister, I have met with Secretary Austin, as well as Mr. Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, as well as Dr. Hamri of the CSIS, who is also the co-host of the symposium. We were able to have a discussion on the security environment surrounding Japan-U.S. alliance and had a broad discussion on more specific cooperation to strengthen deterrence and response capabilities by possessing counter-strike capability and establishing permanent joint headquarters. How can we further strengthen the partnership under the alliance, and also to expand the presence jointly in the southwestern part of Japan and the U.S. The forces realignment, as well as how to promote equipment and technology the cooperation. There are many areas that we jointly could move forward. From the good friends of the United States, including Secretary Austin, I was able to receive encouraging commitment in order to move forward in implementing the strategy with a heavy responsibility as Minister of Defense. I am freshly resolved that we need to see good results. As we are in the midst of great powers rivalry, the international community is once again facing the challenging issues, which is also traditional. That's to say, how to maintain order among the nations. The mankind has overcome the world wars twice and have been able to build international order based on rule of law. But Russian aggression against Ukraine is an atrocity that fundamentally shakes the very foundation of the international order based upon rule of law, or which the people before us has strenuously built. Russia is still continuing very active military activities in the Far East as well. And especially with China, they have joint navigation of naval vessels as well as joint flight over Japan. And needless to say, in the East and South China Seas, the unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force by China continues, and in particular, in and around the Senkaku Islands, our inherent territory. The Chinese Coast Guard vessels are repeatedly intruding, and there are many cases where they are dangerously coming near the Japanese fishing boats. They are also insinuating the use of force against Taiwan. They have very active military activities around Taiwan. The last year, when they have been engaged in military exercise around Taiwan, the scheduled flight route had to be closed. So the flights had to go through the roundabout route, and there has been missiles dropped inside the Japanese EEZ. EEZ is a place where the Japanese fishermen operates. The people's livelihood are no longer safe or nor secure. Artificial islands are built, and the military bases are progressing in the South China Sea. Philippines have tried to bring solution through legal means and diplomatic means, but China have asserted that she can never accept the arbitral award. This is going against the principle of peaceful resolution of conflicts based upon international law. This undermines the international order based upon the rule of law. Furthermore, the boundary between the social activities, including economic activities and security, is increasingly blurred. After the war, the economic development of the Indo-Pacific has been supported by free and open and stable maritime roads. But today, in the coastal area of the Indo-Pacific, including the Pacific Island states, the development of finance support has been given, which ignores debt sustainability. And economic coercion has been imposed through support to those countries. How to make the ports and harbors open and stable, this can also be undermined. Prosperity under where the peace and stability is being threatened. I don't think this will be a prosperity that we could hand over to the next generation. Now, the situation over the Korean Peninsula keep us on our toes still. Ever since last year, North Korea, in an unprecedented frequency, have been launching ballistic missiles. Not only the frequency, but also they are launching ballistic missile in a low altitude and with erratic trajectory. And also, they have gone through the hyper-ultra sound, the missiles launch as well. And also, they are developing new form of missile launch technologies, which is set to make interception very difficult. So we are in an extremely difficult and complex security environment. And perhaps even in the Indo-Pacific, something like aggression against Ukraine that could shake the very foundation of international order, such serious incident could happen. With such anxiety and distrust, people are living in this region. However, that has not yet occurred. But when we say not yet, it may sound as if the clash is inevitable. Some may think as such, but is it true? I myself, as a Minister of Defense, if I am asked this question, I would like to say no. As the Indo-Pacific is at the crossroads of choosing between the path of cooperation and harmony or the path of confrontation and discord, what is needed is, firstly, the power of diplomacy, that is, to be engaged in dialogue, and secondly, the deterrence capability which supports the diplomacy. That is how I believe the thing should be. Now, starting with the first element, the power of diplomacy, that's to say, to maintain and strengthen communication through dialogue. We need to aim at confidence building amongst the countries in the region to avoid unexpected mishaps. And actually, in the Indo-Pacific, we see unilateral change of status quo progressing by use of force and coercion. Each country needs to develop its defense capability, and we need to strengthen our defense relationship with the like-minded countries to prepare for any event or incident of concern that is necessary as well as the valid way to go. But at the same time, not only military force, but we should also engage in dialogue. The principle to solve the differences and the difference in interests through dialogue should also be preserved. That is how I see things. For example, Japan with China in March this year have established the hotline between Japan and China defense authorities, and the operation was started in May with the purpose of avoiding unforeseen events. We will continue to make efforts, and we would like to ask China also to make the same efforts. Countries like China, who poses challenge by use of force and coercion to the international order based upon rule of law, we ask not to continue to send wrong and mistaken signals, but to listen to the calls of peace and stability from us, and to together overcome the differences in interests as well as opinions through dialogue. To ask for dialogue, this is not the easy thing to do. Not violence nor coercion, but through dialogue to bring peaceful solutions to the issues. The proper and desirable model of international order based upon rule of law needs to be presented by us. This will not only be the message for China, but for the countries in the region as well. We will be able to show with our own action what kind of Indo-Pacific regional order that we would like to build.
Whether our engagement with China from such will and position of strength will be effective or not depends on how much we can strengthen our deterrence capability, which supports our diplomatic power to dissuade China from undermining the international order based on the rule of law. That is the second issue. That is why Japan is improving its own and the region's security capabilities and deterrence. First, Japan is working to enhance deterrence to discourage unilateral changes to the status quo by force by fundamentally strengthening Japan's own defense capabilities. As you know, last December, we formulated the National Security Strategy, National Defense Strategy, and Defense Build-up programs. Significant reinforcement of defense capability will be achieved only within the limit of the Constitution of Japan and international law. We intend to develop defense force minimum necessary for self-defense. It is not our intention to possess a military force that would pose a threat to anybody, nor is it our intention to possess the capability to launch a preemptive attack. Japan will maintain exclusively defense posture and fulfill its responsibility as a nation that seeks peace by deterring unilateral changes to the status quo by force. With that in mind, we have decided to spend 43 trillion yen or so to develop defense capabilities from fiscal 2023 to 2027 and aim to boost defense expenditure to 2% of GDP in fiscal 2027 for reinforcement of our comprehensive defense system and complementary initiatives. In addition, the government has decided to possess a counter-strike capabilities. Needless to say, the Japan-US alliance is the cornerstone of Japan's national security and the foundation of regional peace and stability. The region has enjoyed stability and prosperity since the end of the Cold War because you, gathered here today, have been working to revitalize the alliance, which continues to contribute to the security of the Indo-Pacific region. Based on strengthened defense capabilities, Japan will continue to contribute to regional peace, stability, and prosperity by updating the US-Japan alliance in step with the changing times and further enhancing its deterrence and response capabilities. This circle of support for a free, open, and stable international order based on the rule of law is expanding, centering around the United States and Japan. For example, Japan will develop close cooperative relationship with Australia, our special strategic partner in the Indo-Pacific region that is second only to the Japan-US defense cooperation. Already the work is underway. We conduct training in Australia and rotational deployment and so forth. And in this way, we are deepening cooperation mainly in logistical support and information sharing through mutual consultation while keeping in mind that Japan, the US, and Australia may cooperate with each other in the event of a contingency. Through various multilateral frameworks involving not only Japan, US, Australia, but also Japan, US, ROK, Japan, US, Australia, India, or Quad, and Japan, US, Australia, Philippines, we have been conducting multilateral joint exercises and other activities, and promoting an overlapping and organic network of allies in like-minded countries. By working together and uniting, that deterrence against unilateral changes to the status quo by force will be further strengthened. In addition, we will help like-minded countries which share the Indo-Pacific region's future vision of maintaining an international order based on the rule of law as they try to improve their security capabilities. Any unilateral change to the status quo by force aimed against any country or region in the Indo-Pacific bound by the sea will have a profound impact on us. Therefore, we need to improve our security capabilities and deterrence so that each one of us can respectively deter and respond to attempts to unilaterally change the status quo by force or coercion. For example, in March this year, Japan announced a new plan for FOIP, a free and open Indo-Pacific, to further expand FOIP cooperation. In addition, in order to promote maritime security, which is a pillar of the FOIP, Japan has launched OSA, or Official Security Assistance, which provides grant aid to foreign militaries. We aim for synergy with the capacity building support provided by the Ministry of Defense and the self-defense forces. I believe that such enhancement of security capabilities and deterrence in Japan and the entire region will discourage further challenges to the rule of law-based international order and contribute to peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific and to lasting prosperity based on that. Ladies and gentlemen, Japan is deeply concerned about attempts to unilaterally change the rule of law-based international order by force in the Indo-Pacific region. In order to discourage such attempts, we seek to improve the security capabilities and deterrence of Japan and the region as a whole. At the same time, we call for dialogue, not force, to overcome differences of interest and opinion, and to avoid the kind of conflict that the region once experienced. At this major turning point in history, Let us move forward together, hand in hand, sharing our wisdom so that we, the United States and Japan, will serve as a beacon of international order based on the rule of law and lead the Indo-Pacific region toward cooperation and harmony. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
木原大臣、
Thank you very much, Minister Kihara.